The 751st edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMASGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Just go to edgeboost.bet and use promo code SGPN. And finally, we're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 751 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to a new commenter. I don't remember this name, Hood Knowledge on YouTube, who says, great prediction as always, guys. You're welcome, Hood Knowledge. We're here for you. Thanks for coming to the show. We got the knowledge on the hood being Saudi Arabia this weekend, Riyadh. It's UFC Saudi Arabia. I am one of your hosts, the Canadian capitalist, Jeff Fox, safely in Canada, not Saudi Arabia. My co-host, Daniel Gabriel, not in Saudi Arabia as well. But we got the winning picks for you regardless. We did first 5 fights yesterday. Today is main card, 6 fights for you. Some more big boys going down on this fight card, just like we had on yesterday's episode. So we had a team ride yesterday. We'll see if we link up on all our picks today. What do you think, Gumby? Usually you can predict how I'm headed with my picks. What do you think today?
I think you're going to be one off of mine.
Okay, cool. What, and you know the exact fight?
I do.
Interesting. All right, let's dive into it. Now I'm intrigued. Actually, before we dive into it, I got to tell you how you can win yourself some money for free, thanks to our bosses. SGPN is running a free squares pool for the Super Bowl. $1,000 winner take all for the finals score square. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares to sign up today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares. Okay. See if Gumby is really inside my mind like he normally is. UFC fight date, Adesanya versus Imavov, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, this Saturday. That would be February the 1st, 9 a.m. Eastern start time, which is good for Gumby, good for people who have little kids that are going to wake them up. I think the card we're covering right now is a noon start time. Prelims are the 9 a.m. one. So, and we're kicking things off with a heavyweight bout. Actually, some sites have it on the prelims, but regardless, it's going to go down on Saturday, and we're going to give you the winning picks for it. And it is Shamil Gaziev versus Thomas Petersen. So, but the Bahrainian versus the American, the aforementioned Thomas Petersen yesterday. We've actually been talking about him lots of episodes recently. Lots of his teammates have been fighting recently. Let's tell you his resume now. The Train is his nickname. He's 9-2, 7 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. He's 1-1 in the UFC. Won his last fight. He went 1-0 Contender Series, LFA champion, 5 years younger than Gaziev. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes, better grappling stats as well. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.36 strikes per minute. He's at plus 285. Gaziev, 13-1, 8 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 2-1 in the UFC, won his last fight, 1-0 Contender Series. Used to fight at 205. 3 inches height, 5 inches reach over at Petersen. He's been outstruck in the UFC in the Contender Series by 1.29 strikes per minute, minus 345. Gumby, I'm going with the dog right out the gate. Of course, I got to take Steven Petersen. He's looking good in there. No, Steven Petersen, maybe a bit of
he should not be fighting at heavyweight,
especially since he doesn't really fight anymore. Thomas Petersen, the Train, is my pick here. I think he can put a pace on Gaziev, tire him out. We've seen Gaziev wilter in wilter. Wilter is not a word, is it? Wilter in fights? And yeah, well, we've seen him get wilt is what I said. I put at the end of it. We've seen him wilt in fights and tire himself out. I think the Train's going to run one on him, Gumby.
Yeah, I thought we were going to agree on this one. I'm going to go Thomas Petersen as well.
You thought you were? Yes.
Yeah. I didn't think you were going to go Gaziev, mostly because I remember vividly you going with Gaziev when he fought Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and I'm pretty sure I called you an idiot when we did it.
Fraud check. That wasn't very nice.
And I was like, "Don't pick him. What are you doing?"
And I still came back for more. I'm still here.
And then you were like, "I'm never picking him again."
Okay. Well, I'm glad I followed that.
Yeah, and so I figured you would stick by that. And, Gaziev did come back and he beat Dante Mays, which, do with that what you will. But, the big problem I mean, the only loss for Thomas Petersen's career in the UFC so far was that weird one to Jamal Pogues where he just never put his foot on the gas. And like, I don't know if I'm not saying everybody needs to listen to my podcast, but listen to his two training partners, his two number one training partners talk about his mentality when he came back from that fight. Because his mentality was like, dudes, we're not training hard enough to put the gas on from minute one. And they said from then on, they fight like they're fighting 5-round fights every single day in the gym against fresh people. And like, so that to me tells me already his gas tank, I think, was fine. And he's realizing like, I have to be able to turn it on right away to prove it's fine. And like Gaziev, that's the worst part of his game.
Yeah.
Like he's looked tired in almost every single one of his fights. And he looked, I mean, he quit that fight against Rozenstruik. Like he quit. He did not want to fight Jairzinho Rozenstruik anymore. Some of that's because he was getting outworked. Some of it was because he was tired. But like, there's no reason that Petersen can't take that game to him too, in my opinion. Now, he won't take the same level of striking to him, but I think he can take that game to him. So give me Petersen as well. I think we're going to see a takedown game. I think we're going to see a pressing him against the cage game. I think we're going to see enough pace that it'll wear him down.
You can't take Gaziev against pretty much any UFC heavyweight at minus 345 at this point, right? It's
it's a value thing, but it's more than a value thing. Like, gun to your head, like, would you still pick Thomas Petersen in this fight at even money?
Yes.
I
prefer guns not to be at my head, but yes.
Yeah, if I can help it, I'd rather just pick him for fun and also as an underdog. But like, gun to my head, and he's even money, and I'm still picking him. So that's what I'm saying here.
But I'm a Canadian. We don't get too many guns
out
of our heads here. So one of the positives of being up here, that and healthcare. All right, we're going to featherweights next. Muhammad Naimov versus Kaan Ofli. Kaan? Is it Kaan?
Kaan
Ofli. You can call him Genghis as well. He's 11-3-1, Mr. Ofli. 2 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 0-1 in the UFC, 8-1 over his last 9. Got TKO'd in his UFC bout, his last fight. 2-0 in the Ultimate Fighter, and then he lost in the finals. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. And remember the code Big Game, 15% off. He's fight at 155, 2014 pro MMA debut. He was outstruck in his UFC debut by almost 3 strikes a minute, minus 2.92. He's at plus 250. Hillman Naimov, 11-3, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once, so both these guys are pretty durable. Yanni says they're due for a finish. He's 3-1 over his last 4. Got submitted in his last bout. Used to fight at 155, 0-1 in contender series. 2 inches height, 4 inches reach over Ofli, a year younger. Better striking stats and twice more active lightning strikes than Ofli, but Ofli's based off 1 fight. Better grappling stats as well. Naimov has been outstruck by his opponents in the UFC and contender series by 1.1 strikes per minute. Minus 295, so another kind of wide line. This is Gummy's turn.
You want to hear a wild one? Going Kaan Ofli here.
Oh, that is wild. I am not.
Yeah. Well, in the difference maker for me is I don't think Muhammad Naimov is as good as his record shows, right? Because he should have lost that fight with Nathaniel Wood had he not held on to the cage wildly for the whole time in that fight. And then like he did get absolutely beasted by Felipe Lima in his last fight, right? And you know, he won the fight before that with a quick knockout. He beat an aged Jamie Malarkey. And then, like, he lost his fight on Contender Series. Do you remember Colin Anglin?
Yeah.
What did Colin Anglin do in that fight that beat him? Do you remember?
Nope.
Colin Anglin out-wrestled him. Like, this is a guy who's not as good of a wrestler as Colin Anglin. And granted, he's looked better in some of his other fights. You know, he scored some on Nathaniel Wood, but Wood scored on him, too. And you know, I know Kaan Ofli's not a household name at this point in time, but like Kaan Ofli also was exceptionally good at wrestling Nathan Fletcher on The Ultimate Fighter. Like he out-wrestled Nathan Fletcher, who has a submission win in the UFC since being on The Ultimate Fighter already. Like Ofli is legit. And did he lose in the finals of The Ultimate Fighter? Yeah, but that's because Myron Santos has got dynamite for hands, right? And like he didn't even really get a chance to wrestle in that fight. Had he, I argue he could have won The Ultimate Fighter there. Like I think when we broke it down on the show, I was like, look, if Kaan Ofli can get to his wrestling, he's going to win this fight. If he's dumb enough to strike with him, or if the striking just takes hold too early, he's going to get beat there. I think Kaan Ofli's wrestling is wildly underrated, and I think Naimov's is overrated. So I'm going to go Ofli here. I think, again, another underdog here that I think is being wildly undervalued.
I'm taking Hill, man. He's not going to out wrestle Hillman. But I don't know a heck of a lot about Kaan Ofli because I'm not a tough aficionado like you
You
are.
should watch him, dude. He's a lot of fun to watch, man. His fights are fun as hell.
I've watched him at least once. His tough finale, and no shame in the loss. Myron Santos looked pretty good there. So obviously,
yeah, he looks like a prospect.
Hillman is looked good as well. I'm not saying he's. I'm not dying on the Hillman on him. Not climbing up that hill and dying. So you're not going to bully me into picking Naimov every time he fights, but I'm picking him this time. Gumby likes to do that.
Who do I bully you into picking? Who is the guy?
No, I don't actually pick him. The South African guy, Simon, for a while, and then
I made you pick him.
Who is the one that I asked? I was just listing names of people that fought at flyweight. Felipe Bunes. I mentioned his name, and you went wild. It triggered you. So
you're a big Felipe Bunes guy. He says
apparently
Camp 2025. Felipe Bunes.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Here's actually, I don't know who you're picking. I shouldn't cast aspersions here. I should just break down the fight. It is the next fight up the card, and it is a bantamweight fight. Said Nurmagomedov versus Vinicius Oliveira. That's not really what we know him as. So we know him as Lock Dog, LOK Dog, and he is a dog here. Fittingly, 21-3 for Oliveira, 16 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, 2-0 in the UFC. He's won 4 straight and 10 of 11. He's not lost since July of 2022. He went 1-0 in Contender Series, was regional champion, used to fight at 125, an inch of height over Nurmagomedov, 3 years younger. He's more active when he strikes. He's got better grappling stats, which is a surprise over an OV. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 3 strikes per minute, plus 140. Nurmagomedov, yes, another one fighting, not related. He's for Dagestan, but he's not a relative to the rest of them. Nurmagomedov, that fight at least.
He doesn't look like any of them.
No,
well, I mean, like I don't mean physically. I mean fight wise.
No, yes, fight wise, he does not look like it. Very, very true. He is 18-3, 4 knockouts, 6 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 7-2 in the UFC. He's won 5 of 6, including his last fight via submission. That was back in October 2023. Used to fight down at flyweight, up at featherweight. Regional champ, 2009 pro debut. Better striking stats than Oliveira. He's outstruck his opponents by 1.42 strikes per minute, minus 160. Obviously, I'm going Lock Dog here.
Lock Dog.
Yeah, obviously, this Nurmagomedov strikes. This Nurmagomedov does not wrestle, and Lock Dog is a good wrestler himself, a good grappler himself, and he's way better on the feet. Obviously, tons and tons of power on the feet, despite what any stats say. So, Lock Dog is my dog pick here. I think he can take care of things here for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Lock Dog too. I know I'm loading up on the dogs on the main card. I was really chalky on the prelims though. But like, it's hard for me to look at a spot where Lock Dog's gonna get a chance to strike and not pick him. Right? Like, he's dangerous. He's game. He's got credible pace and pressure and all that kind of stuff. And like, Syed has caught a couple of gillies, but like, is Lock Dog gonna duck down into a position where he can get guillotined? You know, he's got like a guillotine or two guillotines and a ninja choke or something like that. Like, is that something Lock Dog is going to follow into? Probably not. And then like on top of that, like, I don't really see Said shooting takedown. Like, maybe he will. I don't know. But Said gets up anyway. And then everybody else is tired except for him because he's never been tired before in his life. So yeah, give me Lock Dog again. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record picking dogs here, and I may not be done. But yeah, Lock Dog.
Yep, Lock Dog for me as well. Obviously, I already said that. All right, before we move on, Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstake site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And you know your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. The best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. Sign up today. Use the promo code SGPN so you get better cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we are brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every sport, plus props for every game in the live dealer casino. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Check out all the UFC Saudi Arabia lines there. When you do head to mybookie.ag, use our promo code for our show. You'll see it on your screen if you're on YouTube, MMA SGPN. You do that, you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. Alrighty, ladies and gents, let's move on up the card here. We are going to the big boys, heavyweights. Sergei Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. We were speaking of Rozenstruik before. We're speaking of him again now. Biggie boy is Rozenstruik, 15-5, 13 knockouts. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 9-5 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight, and he's gone 5-5 over his last 10. Regional champion, 2012 Pro MMA debut. He's got multiple kickboxing championships on his mantle. That's not our expression, but I'll say it anyhow. Better striking stats than Pavlovich. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.01 strikes per minute, plus 265. Pavlovich is 18-3 with 15 knockouts. He's been knocked out twice, 6-3 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 6 straight. Regional champ, 2014 Pro MMA debut. A Sonda champ as well. An inch of height, 6 inches of reach, 4 years younger than Rozenstruik. More active landing strikes. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.83 strikes per minute, minus 310. So another wide line heavyweight bout.
Yeah, and I'm going Rozenstruik.
Ooh, yeah, you tend to do that, don't you?
I believe he's still one of the better heavyweights in the world. I know that's crazy, but like, you're not beating him unless you're wrestling him, right? Like, what is he's winning there and made people look silly against Gaziev. And like, the other thing is, I think he can follow the Alexander Volkov game plan. What did Volkov do? Volkov picked him apart from the outside, made him throw those big bombs, and just didn't step in the way of one of them. And as long as you stay out of the way of the big bomb from Pavlovich, what is really to beat you? He's not outpointing anybody. He's never outpointed anybody. And so, like, for me, I think if he gets into a kickboxing match here with Rozenstruik is, first of all, great cardio, 3-round fight. I think all he's got to do is pick and prod and frustrate him a little bit. I think he takes 2 out of 3 of these rounds. Wouldn't be surprised if Pavlovich gets a little over his skis and gets himself knocked out too. Yeah, give me Rozenstruik here.
Yeah, I've written off Rozenstruik. He's proven me wrong, but I'm still not picking him here. Pavlovich, too long, too big. Good luck fighting at range against him. But like you said, last opponent did. But I don't think Rozenstruik's much smaller as well. So I'm not playing this in real life at minus 310 though. No heavyweight fight really is worth that amount of risk in my eyes, especially one with 2 guys that can knock people out as easily as these 2 can. But Pavlovich is regardless, he's my pick here. Maybe Rozenstruik will prove me wrong again. Ever since Gumby's been in his corner, he's been winning fights. So who's to say, right?
Gumby believes.
I've
interviewed Biggie Boy before too. You ever hear the story about how he became Biggie Boy?
You probably told me yes, and I don't remember things. So go. You want to tell the people, or you want?
Yeah, I can tell the people. When he was like a little kid, he was playing basketball in Suriname, and he wasn't good at basketball, but they'd pass him the ball because he was so big, and he'd turn in score, and then nobody knew his name, so they just chant Biggie Boy.
Oh, nice. Well, there you go, and it is stuck, and he still is a Biggie Boy.
Yeah, he's not small.
Yeah. Definitely not. We're to the co-main event already. Middleweights, Shara Magomedov, whoever that is, versus Michael Page. Both these guys are more known by their nicknames. Michael Page will be MVP Venom. Michael Venom Page, 22-3, 13 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 1-1 in the UFC, 2-1 over his last 3, 8-2 over his last 10. Did lose his last fight though. He went 11-1 in Bellator. He used to fight at 170, 2012 Pro MMA debut. Actually, he predominantly fought at 170. He's moving up here. He's got multiple world kickboxing championships on his mantle as well, just like Biggie Boy does. 2-0 as a pro boxer, 0-1 in bare knuckle fighting, 1-0 in pro kickboxing. Inch of height, 6 inches of reach over Magomedov, so another massive reach advantage in this fight. Better striking stats, better grappling stats, and he's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.93 strikes per minute, plus 154. Shara Bullet, Mr. Magomedov is 15-0 with 12 knockouts, 4-0 in the UFC. Won his last fight via knockout, a double back fist, spinning back fist knockout.
It was nuts.
As one does. Regional champ, used to fight down at 170, up at 205. Muay Thai champ, Lethwei champ. Easy for me to say. 7 years younger than Page, twice more active landing strikes. He's got a positive strike differential in the UFC of 2.33. He's at minus 175. I'm going dog here. I have a feeling Gumby is as well, because I don't think he's in on the Shara bullet train. Hey, a bullet train. Yeah, Michael Page is first of all, Shara says he's not going to do any takedowns. He could be lying, but he wants to stay.
Why would he do any takedowns? Shara's never shot takedowns.
I know, but he's fighting someone he's fighting someone who can actually strike. So, and his last name's Off. I guess that's why people are asking him.
They've only ever put him against.
Exactly.
They've never put him with grapplers.
The only thing I'm worried about here is Page's age. He hasn't shown any durability issues, but eventually
he hasn't shown any durability issues. When he got knocked out by Douglas Lima, doesn't worry you.
One time. And
Dude,
how many fights
he got slapped by Douglas.
That was a long time ago, though. I'm taking Michael Venom Page. You're not, are you?
No.
You think he's getting knocked out?
Yeah, of course. And really? He doesn't belong at 85. First of all,
that's an issue as well. Like the age and the size. But Shara is not good. He's fought no one good.
I think he's good at striking. I don't think he's a good fighter. And I've been on record saying, time to get off the Shara bullet train. Time to get. And then like every single time they book him, you're like, oh God, they did it. They gave him somebody he could beat. like you're just like, oh man, they figured out the formula for how we get this guy more wins. And I thought, in his last fight, they might have given him somebody who could strike with him, and they did a little bit. And he still has got that crazy power to knock people out. He's insanely durable, and now he doesn't have to worry about a takedown at all because Michael Venom Page ain't gonna hit a takedown anyway, and he's certainly not gonna hit one at 185. Like, this is the same as what I was telling people last week with or 2 weeks ago, rather. We didn't have a UFC card last week, but 2 weeks ago with Rene DeRieder versus Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland did not belong in this weight class. Michael Venom Page does not belong in this weight class. He's going to get hit by a guy who's bigger, possibly just as fast, and like has less tread on his tires, right? Like, yeah, Page has been in some wars. He got beat up a little bit by Ian Gary in his last fight. And like, yeah, he doesn't have to worry about getting wrestled the same way in this one, but man, he stood toe to toe with Kevin Holland, and that's great. But like, this isn't Kevin Holland. This is a dude who's much bigger and hits much harder. I'm taking Shara bullet.
Oh, surprise, but okay. We shall see what happens with the Shara bullet. I am off the Shara bullet train. We'll see.
I mean, I'm not as high as I think everybody else is, right? No. Like, when you hear the media talk about this guy, he's like a middleweight champ in the making. I don't think he's that, but I don't think Michael Page is the guy who's going to show us, oh, he doesn't have wrestling defense, and like his striking defense is fine. It's not like it's great, but like it's good enough. And you can't say that his hands are bad. So it's like, yeah, I don't think he's great necessarily either, or a future champ, but also I don't think you're giving him an opponent who's going to test that.
We shall see. Well, he's definitely not going to test the grappling. So, all right, I'm in on the underdog here. Gumby is not, but we're both in on underdog pick'em. Underdog pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. And you now use special and boost in all flex entries. Gumby has a play for you right now, I bet.
Sure, I'm going to go with the higher than on Israel Adesanya's significant strikes. We're about to break down that fight in just a second with Nassourdine and Imavov. I personally think it's probably going to go pretty deep into this fight. I don't really see a knockout coming around. With that being said, 92.5 significant strikes is a projection that I could definitely see him getting over. So give me the higher than on Israel Adesanya's significant strikes.
All right. Sign up with our code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit. Offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. AutoNockFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And SGPN's partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. If the NFL playoffs haven't been going your way so far, Rhythm will help you turn things around. With 3 games left. No, sorry, 1 game left. We already are down to our finals. Rhythm's AI-powered predictions for the best game of the season for prop bets and game lines will set you up for success in the Super Bowl. They got NFL picks, NFL props, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Al Horford props, damn right, they have that as well. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, main event. As Gumby mentioned, it is between Israel Adesanya and Nassourdine Imavov, a middleweight 5-round bout. Is the co-main? It's only 3, right? This week, I think.
Yeah, I can't see a reason to make Shara bullet versus Michael Page 5.
Yep. All right. Middleweights. We'll tell you about this sniper, Imavov. First, we got a lot of ovs on this card, not surprisingly. He's 15-4 with 1 no contest, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been submitted once, 7-2 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's won 3 straight, and he's gone 6-1 with 1 no contest over his last 8. He's not lost since January 2023. He's fight down at 170, up at 205. A regional champion, 6 years younger than Adesanya. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes, better grappling stats as well. And he's outstruck his opponents by 1.31 strikes per minute, plus 145. The last style bender, Adesanya, 24-4 with 16 knockouts. Been knocked out once, submitted once, 14-4 in the UFC, and a 2-time middleweight champion. He's lost 2 straight and got 1-3 over his last 4. Got submitted in his last fight. I think this is his first non-title fight in 12 fights. I think he's fought 12 straight title fights coming into this one. He's fought at 205, or he did briefly for 1 fight at least. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Get the shirt, sports@gamblingpodcast.com. Big game is your code. Gets you 15% off up into the Super Bowl. 2012 Pro MMA debut. He's a boxing champ. He's a kickboxing champ. Did you hear he fought Alex Pereira in kickboxing before?
A couple of times.
Yeah, it's true. An inch height, 5 inches reach over Imavov. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.79 strikes per minute. He's at minus 157. So Gumby gets to do the main event first this week.
So I'm going to go with Israel Adesanya. I will say this wouldn't be my favorite play of the week here.
No lock pick here.
So I like him because, I like him because I think he's the better striker. And I think Nassourdine Imavov is going to give him the style of fight he wants, right? Like Imavov isn't going to do the Sean Strickland where he crowds you with 100 jabs and pitter-patter punches and outpaces you and then surprises you with one big shot and then gets back to the pitter-pattering. He's also not going to grind on you like DDP did and hit a couple of takedowns and threaten you with submissions. He's got a couple of takedowns in his career, but that ain't him. His game is kind of just to do what Izzy does, is to strike from range. And will he oblige him in that kind of game? I don't know, but if he does, you got to favor Izzy a little bit. And if he does it, he's fighting what's not his game. And for me, that makes me like Izzy. I think the part that makes me hesitate before saying lock in Izzy at this great discounted price while he's on the way down is he is on the way down.
Yeah.
Whether you want to say, there was something mentally wrong in those fights before, or maybe he slipped off a touch and maybe he's not falling to that. Whatever you want to come up with for his excuses and talk about where he is, we do have question marks about is this just the end of Izzy? Has he hit the proverbial Chuck Liddell wall that we saw at some point in time where all of a sudden crazy star fighters just start losing fights because it's not there anymore? That maybe he's there and I don't know. I tend to think there's more in the tank there. I don't think he'll ever hit his peak again, but I do think there's enough there to beat Nassourdine Imavov. So I'm going to take Izzy here with a little bit of a caveat. Yeah,
me too. I pretty much agree with everything you said there. There is concerns, obviously, about his age, physically and mentally, whether he's still in the game, especially in a non-title fight here. But like you said, Imavov is type of fighter he should handle. If he can't handle Imavov, then obviously it is the end, because he's going to be a guy who's going to stay at distance and, like you said, fight like Adesanya fights, which means we could have a real stinker of a main event, 25-minute bore fest here. But I think Adesanya wins. And like I said, if he doesn't win, it's going to say a lot about where he is in his career. And he'll be almost auto fade material going forward. So, all right, let's recap it all up with you here. We have got Adesanya. He has Magomedov. I have Page. Pavlovich. He has Rozenstruik. Both have Oliveira. Both have Davis. I have Naimov. He has Ofli. No, sorry. That was yesterday's show. We both have Petersen, our big dog, to start things off. Which fight did you think we were going to disagree on? And
I thought we were going to disagree only on Biggie and Pavlovich. I knew you were going to be on Pavlovich.
Yeah. Instead, we violently disagreed about your new favorite guy.
I forgot about the Kaan Ofli fight too. I did think
that one too, right?
That you were going to be in on Kaan Ofli.
Right. All right, because I barely know Kaan Ofli, because I'm not a tough fan. I should watch. You're right. All right, locks, dogs, props, parlays. Maybe a parlay, maybe a round robin. We'll see where we're going.
I got a round robin this week.
Oh, fun. Yeah, they're good as long as you can, hit a couple of them, and hopefully one of these days we hit all how many you have, and then everyone gets rich. Yeah. All right, you want to do your lock first?
Sure. I'm going to take Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, it seems like the right one here. I like her ability to drag out fights and kind of make them nasty and stuff like that. And should be a pretty easy one for her here. So I'm gonna take Yazoo as my lock. And that means back to my dog, since you duplicated. I've actually been back and forth because I took a load of dogs earlier here. And the more and more I thought about it, I think I'm gonna go with Bogdangrad.
Whoa! I was joking yesterday that he was going to be our dog pick, but he really is.
I'm gonna go with him here because I think maybe it's more of a fate of Lucas Alexander than anything else.
Yeah.
But he hung in there with Michael Aswell. Good enough wrestling. I'll take Bogdangrad as my dog of the week.
Interesting. Of course, I'm taking Lock Dog.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that.
Any chance you can, lock on him.
You can lock your dog. You can lock dog.
Yes, not just because of the name. We told you why we like him a few moments ago. So, all right, over to you. Prop.
Yeah. So my prop, and I was a little bit too busy with my my going deep on those props. I'm going to take Israel Adesanya, and I'm going to take him to win by decision. Because I don't think he's gonna put him away. I think he's maybe gonna put on like a all-time sort of styling on him performance, but I don't know that he'll put him away. Plus 140 on the decision.
That's all right.
Not a bad number when you turn around his negative number pretty much on the inverse there.
Yep. All right, mine's a bigger one. Hamdi Abdul Wahab inside the distance plus 300 for some reason. You can get a little bit better line if you take him via knockout. But
we're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah, I can see him submit. It's going to happen on the ground. I can see him submitting Pogues as well. But
Pogues. We'll get there.
All right, you save it. Abdul Wahab inside the distance plus 300. That's enough for me. I don't have to be too greedy. All right, so we both have Jazz as our locks. Grad and Oliveira as our dogs. Grad makes me laugh here.
So wild.
Izzy via decision and Abdul Wahab inside the distance. I think Gumby agrees with that inside the distance one. He's going to tell you it's going to be part of his Hungry Man Young super fan round robin.
Yeah, I'm going to go with him by KO. Mostly just because first of all, I like the hands a little bit in his last fight.
Every fight he's won that way, except the no contest. So
yeah, and also I will just say too, Pogues has sleepy good submission skills. Like I think people forget that he especially when he was a light heavyweight, maybe not so much now that he's a big boy, but he's always kind of had some decent jiu-jitsu. So I'm gonna take Abdel by KO, my first leg of this Hungry Man round robin plus 500, which is gonna be a theme because I got 3 of them at plus 500 here.
Whoa, so I like a big week.
Yeah, I like Abdelhawab by KO. I'm going to go Thomas Petersen inside the distance. I know he's not a finisher, but Gaziev tires really easily. And I don't even have to get picky here on him, KO or sub. Inside the distance for him, plus 500. And I'll go with another one who some people don't think is going to get a finish, which is Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think there's a good chance again. Mayra Buena Silva tired in her both of her last 2 fights, got finished in her last fight, and now is going to go down a weight class, suck all the weight out of her, and fight a pretty grueling fighter in Jasmine Jasudavicius. Her inside the distance is plus 500. So again, plus 500, plus 500, plus 500 to kick it off. I'll kick it down a notch for Bogdangrad's KO line. Look, we've seen
you're really doubling down on this guy.
Yeah, well, we've
tripling down.
We've seen Lucas Alexander get knocked out 2 of his last 3 fights, right? So, why not say he gets knocked out here again? That one's only plus 340, so taking the foot off the gas a little bit. But we'll put it back down with, I'm going to take Mike Davis by sub. Mostly because I think that's a fight that will be a lot of fighting with the hands, and Davis will just kind of surprise him with a takedown and some arm triangle action in there. Or also, I could see a tag and bag situation for Davis, and it's 550 for him on the sub. So once again, that means we got Abdelhawab by KO, that's 500. Petersen inside the distance, 500. Jasmine Jasudavicius inside the distance, 500. Grad by KO plus 340, and you got Davis by sub plus 550. So if you roll all those together in a round robin, okay, and obviously your appetite for risk can vary, but if you hit 2 of them, you're going to get your money back pretty much regardless, even if it's the 2 smallest ones you can find in there. And if you hit all 5 of them, you're going to win 530 times whatever you lay. So, yeah, I'm down with that.
All right. You are set now for UFC Saudi Arabia. Get up bright and early Saturday morning and join us in the Discord. We shall be in there chatting it up like we always are. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. YouTube, we'll chat it up there as well. MMA Gambling Podcast. Hit us up in the comments. Twitter, SGPN MMA. Gumby runs that for us. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Enter my pick'em contest for UFC Saudi Arabia. We told you who's going to win, so go win my pick'em contest. You can enter for free at moneymma.substack.com. Bogdangrad, he's the way to victory. Gumby's got Top Turtle MMA podcast. Tell the people who is on it this week.
Yeah, we got Abdul Karim Al Sawadi, who was supposed to fight on this show. Still a fun interview, even though his fight has fallen off. And we're also talking to Denise Ilbay, who will be fighting on Octagon 66, which we broke down a few days ago.
So check it out. All their work can be found at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You can also go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store and use the code BIGGAME to get some 15% off all your gear. We got some really cool hats, new hats in there. So check it out, the Gen hats. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get extra content. And if you can really help us out, if you're going to sign up for mybookie.ag or underdogfantasy.com, make sure you use the code MMASGPN. And then it's a win-win for both of us. You get a special deal and we look good to the bosses. All right. Bid the people farewell, Gumby, until Sunday.
All right. I'm Daniel Gumby Freeland. He's the last style bender, Jeff Fox. And we will see you on Sunday.